This chapter introduces the basic concepts of customer relationship management, or CRM. It covers the customer-centric firm, the role of CRM technologies, and the main CRM metrics and key performance indicators. The objective is to understand how firms measure relationship performance and customer value. CRM is rooted in the idea of the customer-centric firm. A customer-centric firm places the customer at the core of its strategy, culture, and decision-making. The goal is not only to sell products, but to deliver superior experience, service quality, and customer well-being. Research shows that customer-centric firms are significantly more profitable than purely transactional firms because they build long-term relationships. A customer-centric firm does not treat all customers equally. Instead, it focuses on customer lifetime value, or CLV. CLV represents the total profit a customer generates for the firm over the entire duration of the relationship. CRM, therefore, concentrates resources on customer segments with the highest customer lifetime value to optimize profitability and resource allocation. CRM is grounded in the relationship marketing paradigm, which prioritizes the development of long-term customer relationships over short-term transactional sales. At the core of this paradigm lies the satisfaction loyalty profit chain. The logic is straightforward. Satisfied customers are more likely to remain loyal, and loyal customers generate higher and more sustainable profits over time. As a result, CRM focuses not only on selling, but on creating, maintaining, and strengthening relationships that deliver long-term value for both the customer and the firm. The relationship marketing, or CRM paradigm, is based on the relationship value chain. The relationship value chain starts with product, service, and relationship value. Example, Apple integrates device performance with a seamless service ecosystem. This leads to cumulated satisfaction with product, service, and relationship value, achieved when expectations are met or exceeded. Example, Amazon's one-day delivery system is supported by AI demand prediction. Cumulated and repeated satisfaction builds trust, built through reliability and transparency. Example, Tesla's over-the-air software updates that improve safety and performance. Trust then fosters behavioral and attitudinal loyalty or brand attachment, thus real loyalty. Loyalty strengthens engagement, a sustained interaction with the brand. Example, Starbucks Rewards gamifies repeat purchases through mobile app challenges. Customer engagement drives individual customer lifetime value and customer equity. This long-term profitability is achieved when all these drivers work together, reinforcing one another in a continuous cycle. Each link depends on the one before. So, for example, if trust is not achieved, loyalty cannot be achieved neither. And each link can be enhanced by an enhanced relationship and technology, from IoT AI-enabled product or service personalization to AI-powered automation. Let us explain the different concepts in detail now. We now introduce a central concept in CRM, customer perceived value. Customer perceived value represents a consumer's overall evaluation of a product or service's ability to satisfy needs, based on a comparison between perceived benefits and perceived costs. Formally, perceived value can be expressed as customer value or benefits, customer costs. Let us break this concept down into its core components. 1. Customer value, perceived benefits. Customer value includes both material and immaterial benefits. Material product attributes refer to the tangible and functional characteristics of the offering, such as design, speed, color, reliability, or performance. For example, in the case of a car or a smartphone, these attributes include technical features, usability, and quality. Immaterial product attributes are psychological and emotional in nature. They include personalization enabled by CRM systems, brand equity, social image, symbolic meaning, and the feelings of pleasure or hedonism associated with the consumption experience. For instance, a Decathlon smartwatch delivers functional value through health tracking and ergonomic design, while simultaneously providing emotional and symbolic value by supporting an active lifestyle and identity expression. 2. Customer costs, perceived sacrifices and risks. Customer costs represent what consumers must give up or sacrifice in order to obtain value. Importantly, these costs go far beyond price and include several types of perceived risk. Monetary costs include the purchase price as well as perceived financial risk, such as the fear of wasting money or experiencing monetary loss. Time and energy costs refer to the effort required to search for information, make a purchase, wait for delivery, or learn how to use the product. Long waiting times, complex processes, or inconvenient interfaces reduce perceived value. Psychological costs relate to uncertainty, anxiety, and mental effort. These include perceived functional risk, fear that the product may not perform as expected, privacy risk, especially in data-driven or AI-based services, and decision risk, fear of making the wrong choice. Psychological costs directly affect consumers' mental well-being. Firms actively manage these costs through CRM practices. Monetary costs can be reduced through promotions or personalized discounts. Time and effort costs are minimized via e-commerce, automation, and home delivery. Psychological risks are reduced through guarantees, service recovery, warranties, transparent communication, and positive word of mouth. Ultimately, the most powerful and sustainable way to reduce perceived risk is to build trust-based relationships. 3. Delivered perceived value. Customer-delivered value represents the net perceived gain or profit for the customer, that is, the difference between all perceived benefits and all perceived costs. A critical insight is that customers do not necessarily choose the cheapest option, but rather the one with the best overall cost-benefit balance. In other words, customers seek to maximize perceived value, not minimize price. For example, a Tesla is typically more expensive than many alternative vehicles. However, customers often perceive superior value due to performance, technological innovation, service personalization, and brand prestige, which together outweigh the higher monetary cost. In summary, customer perceived value is a holistic trade-off between what customers receive, quality, functionality, experience, and emotional satisfaction, and what they sacrifice, money, time, effort, and psychological comfort. Creating customer value, therefore, requires managing both sides of the equation, increasing perceived benefits while simultaneously reducing perceived costs and risks. This balance forms the foundation of long-term satisfaction, trust, and loyalty in modern CRM systems. Customer satisfaction results from a comparison between expected and actual performance. It is a positive disconfirmation between the real performance and expectations. Dissatisfaction is a negative disconfirmation between the real performance and expectations. Satisfaction is influenced by several antecedents. These include customer expectations, perceived quality, perceived value, and previous experiences with the brand. Communication and word of mouth also shape expectations before purchase. Managers must therefore manage expectations carefully. If expectations are set too high, even a good product may disappoint. If expectations are realistic, the same performance may lead to delight. In other words, it's not only what you deliver, but what customers expect that defines satisfaction. To measure satisfaction, companies use several tools. Surveys and questionnaires are conducted after purchase or service interaction. Mystery shopping to evaluate service delivery objectively. Lost customer analysis to understand why people leave. In addition, digital CRM systems now use feedback analytics, sentiment analysis, and Net Promoter Score, NPS. However, satisfaction alone is not sufficient to ensure loyalty. We therefore introduce customer firm trust, one of the most important emotional KPIs in CRM. Trust refers to the belief that a firm is reliable, honest, and will not behave opportunistically. There are 3 dimensions to trust. Competence, the firm can do what it promises. Integrity, the firm keeps its promises and acts ethically. Benevolence, the firm genuinely cares about its customers' interests. Trust develops gradually through consistent, reliable interactions. From a managerial viewpoint, trust reduces perceived risk and increases willingness to share data, which is essential in digital ecosystems. Next, let's talk about loyalty, but we must distinguish real loyalty from spurious loyalty. Real loyalty combines 2 components. Behavioral loyalty refers to observable actions such as repeat purchases and purchase frequency. Attitudinal loyalty refers to emotional attachment, positive attitudes, and resistance to switching. True loyalty requires both behavioral and attitudinal loyalty. Repeat purchasing alone may reflect inertia or switching barriers rather than genuine loyalty. Many customers who defect report being satisfied, which shows the limits of satisfaction metrics. From a managerial view, this distinction is critical. True loyalty is emotional. It's built on trust and well-being, not just discounts or habit. Different industries generate very different types of customer relationships. Understanding these differences is fundamental for designing CRM systems, loyalty strategies, and for accurately calculating customer lifetime value, CLV. Broadly, we can distinguish between 2 major types of customer relationships, contractual and non-contractual. 1. Contractual relationships. In contractual relationships, such as banking, telecommunications, insurance, streaming platforms, or mobile subscriptions, the relationship between the customer and the firm is explicitly defined by a contract. In these settings, firms know precisely when the relationship starts and when it ends. The date of the first transaction and the termination date are clearly observable, making the customer life cycle highly measurable. For example, when a Netflix subscriber cancels their subscription or a telecom customer switches to another provider, the firm immediately observes churn. From a CRM and analytics perspective, this is a major advantage. It allows firms to accurately measure and manage key metrics such as churn rates, retention rates, customer lifetime value, CLV. Because the end of the relationship is observable, predictive modeling and retention interventions can be implemented with high precision. 2. Non-contractual relationships. Non-contractual relationships are more common in industries such as retail, tourism, e-commerce, and hospitality. In these contexts, customers are free to buy or not buy without any formal agreement. There is no explicit contract and no clearly defined end of the relationship. Firms typically know the date of the first purchase, but the date of the last purchase is unknown. The central challenge here is that silence does not necessarily mean churn. A customer may simply be temporarily inactive rather than lost. For instance, a traveler who has not booked with an airline for a year may still hold a positive attitude toward the brand, but has had no immediate need to travel. As a result, in non-contractual contexts, engagement and emotional connection become critical. CRM systems cannot rely solely on transactional data. They must also capture interactions, engagement signals, intentions, and customer sentiment. In many cases, emotional and attitudinal loyalty indicators are better predictors of future behavior than simple purchase recency. This makes relationship building, content, and engagement strategies central to effective CRM in non-contractual industries. Retention rate and churn rate are the mirror images of each other. Retention measures the percentage of customers who stay. Churn measures those who leave. For example, if 8,000 from 1,000 customers stay, the retention would be 80%. The churn rate would be 100%, 80%, year-goes, and 20%. A high churn rate is a warning sign. It usually means low trust, weak engagement, or unsatisfied expectations. Customer engagement is the emotional and behavioral investment a customer makes in a brand relationship. It includes cognitive engagement, attention and curiosity, emotional engagement, feelings of attachment, and behavioral engagement, participation, sharing, advocacy. Engaged customers are active co-creators of value. They don't just buy, they contribute. From a managerial perspective, engagement transforms passive consumers into brand partners. At the end of the satisfaction loyalty profit chain or relationship marketing paradigm lies the key financial outcome, customer lifetime value, CLV. CLV represents the total profit a firm expects to generate from an individual customer over the entire relationship. It is calculated as the present value of past and expected future cash flows minus acquisition and service costs. CLV therefore captures the net economic benefit of a customer over time. Rather than simply counting customers, CLV shows how much value customers have created and are expected to create, making it a powerful individual-level KPI linking marketing performance to financial valuation. From a managerial perspective, CLV helps prioritize marketing investments and optimize resource allocation. By identifying high-value customers and designing targeted retention strategies, firms can focus resources where they create the most value, transforming CRM from a cost center into a strategic investment. In practice, CRM strategies differ fundamentally between contractual and non-contractual relationships. In contractual industries, loyalty management focuses on preventing churn before contract termination, using predictive analytics and proactive retention actions, such as personalized offers before contract renewal. In non-contractual industries, loyalty management centers on staying top of mind and sustaining engagement, as inactivity does not necessarily signal defection. Firms therefore emphasize emotional bonds through CRM communications, loyalty programs, personalized content, and predictive retention tools. Loyal customers bring multiple financial advantages that increase CLV. They purchase more often, recommend the brand to others, and are less sensitive to price changes. They also generate lower service costs because they already know the brand and its systems. That's why loyalty creates a profit multiplier effect to CLV. It simultaneously reduces costs and increases revenues. At the end of the satisfaction loyalty profit chain, or relationship marketing paradigm, lies the financial outcome known as customer equity, CE. Customer equity moves the analysis from the individual customer level to the aggregated level of the firm. Customer equity represents the sum of all customer lifetime values, CLVs, across the entire customer base. In other words, it is the total financial value of a firm's customer portfolio and one of the best indicators of the value created through customer management. Like CLV, customer equity is a forward-looking metric. It captures the value customers are expected to generate in the future and directly links marketing performance to financial valuation. If CLV measures the value of a single customer relationship, customer equity measures the value of all customer relationships combined, making it a firm-level KPI. Consider a simple example. If the average CLV is $10,000 and the firm has 10,000 active customers, customer equity equals 10,000 x 10,000 whores $100 million. This means the firm's customer base is worth $100 million, assuming stable retention and profitability. It represents the present value of future cash flows from existing customers. A real-world illustration is Facebook Meta. The average CLV of a Facebook user is estimated at around $1,800 based on advertising revenues. Using a conservative estimate of 2 billion active users, 2 billion x $1,800 is $3.6 trillion. This figure reflects Facebook's theoretical customer equity. While this is not its market capitalization, it illustrates the massive financial value generated by loyal and engaged users. Every interaction contributes incrementally to CLV and ultimately to customer equity. Customer equity thus acts as a bridge between marketing and finance. Loyal customers are perceived by investors as predictable and renewable future cash flows, making relationship marketing an investment rather than a cost. From a managerial perspective, customer equity reflects the firm's relationship capital, its ability to attract, retain, and grow profitable customers. Firms with high customer equity typically benefit from higher retention, greater cross-selling potential, stronger word of mouth, and more stable revenues. For CRM managers, increasing customer equity requires managing three key levers of perceived value: product value equity by improving functional and economic benefits, brand equity by strengthening symbolic and emotional value, relationship equity by enhancing personalization, loyalty programs, and trust-based interactions. Together, these dimensions drive long-term retention, increase individual CLV, and raise overall customer equity. In summary, CLV measures the value of one customer relationship, while customer equity measures the total value of all customer relationships. Customer equity captures the cumulative impact of CRM, loyalty, and service efforts and ultimately reflects the overall worth of the firm itself. We conclude with the relationship marketing paradigm. In today's transformative service approach, the relationship marketing and CRM paradigm, as well as the relationship value chain, are fundamentally enhanced by the integration of customer well-being. The relationship value chain is no longer limited to moving from product or service value to satisfaction, trust, and loyalty. Instead, customer well-being has become the pivotal link that strengthens and amplifies every stage of the chain. The process begins with product and service value, where brands deliver on functional and emotional promises. When customers perceive this value, satisfaction emerges. Satisfaction then leads to trust, which forms the essential foundation of any enduring customer relationship. However, trust is no longer the final destination. It acts as a gateway to customer well-being. Customer well-being spans several interconnected dimensions. Physical well-being is enhanced when brands actively support healthier lifestyles. Fitbit or Nike Run Club motivate customers to engage in regular physical activity, while Decathlon's fitness challenges help establish positive routines that strengthen both habits and brand relationships. In smart homes, physical well-being can be improved through temperature regulation and air quality optimization. Emotional and psychological well-being is reinforced through safety, reassurance, and reduced stress. The Apple Watch's fall detection feature, which can trigger emergency assistance, increases feelings of security. Smart homes reduce stress through adaptive and responsive environments. Safety-first technologies from brands such as Volvo and Waymo reduce anxiety in daily mobility, supporting both psychological and physical well-being. Tesla's autopilot safety features can reduce driving stress, enhancing psychological comfort. Similarly, Sephora's augmented reality try-on tools reduce uncertainty in online purchases, improving emotional well-being. Social well-being and a sense of belonging are created through communities and shared experiences. Decathlon's sports clubs, Strava's global fitness network, Lego Ideas communities, and Fitbit's social challenges foster connection, participation, and collective motivation. These social bonds reinforce engagement and long-term loyalty. Financial well-being through empowerment and control is supported by brands such as Revolut or Mint, which provide users with transparency, budgeting tools, and greater control over their financial decisions, reducing stress and increasing perceived autonomy. Well-being is therefore not merely an individual psychological state, it is a strategic layer in relationship marketing. In traditional CRM models, satisfaction and trust are precursors to loyalty. By integrating well-being into the relationship value chain, firms deepen and humanize the customer-brand relationship. Companies that focus on customer well-being do more than solve functional problems, they actively improve people's lives. When brands consistently enhance these dimensions of well-being, relationships intensify. Customers develop strong attitudinal and behavioral loyalty, which evolves into customer engagement. Engaged customers interact more frequently with the brand, co-create value, share experiences, and become advocates. This engagement, in turn, increases customer lifetime value and, at scale, drives customer equity, the total long-term value of the firm's customer base. In this sense, customer well-being is no longer peripheral to CRM. It is a central driver of sustainable relationship value and long-term financial performance.